Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have this new video for you that I talked about doing yesterday, and that video is going to be about how you can tell if you are working for a good company or not. So I already did the list of things to watch out for if a company may not be as strong, so now I'm going to talk about how you'll really know if you're working for a good company or the company you're interviewing with is a good company, and just all those different things that you can watch out for to see if the company you are working for is a good one. If you're new here, my name's Maria. I do a bunch of different videos on professionalism, some college stuff, and some budgeting as well. So if that is the type of content you are looking for, then that is what I put on this channel. But I don't want my intro to be too long, so let's just get on with the video. The first thing I look for, and this was in my bad list as well, but for here it's a good thing. The first thing I look for is definitely if they have good reviews on Indeed or Glassdoor. You can see on the reviews, use stuff from previous employees, and this will really help you get a gist of what the company is like before you enter it. So it's a really good resource to use to make sure that a company is good. If they have 4 or 5-star reviews, they are probably a very strong company, so that is a good way to tell if it would be in your best interest to work for them. And the second thing, I also talked about this in my last video, is turnover rate. If a company has a low turnover rate, they'll most likely brag about it too. If they have a very low turnover rate, that means they're doing very well and they're keeping their employees happy. So that is a very good sign for a company and shows that they really care about the people that they are bringing into their company. People are loving the company, so they're not leaving. They're not leaving at a fast rate like some other companies, so that's a really good sign you are in good hands with your company or your future company. And something else you can look out for is if the company has a very good training program. So this is super great if they do this. If they're bringing you on and they have like a 4 to 6 month training program, most likely they are a very good and very successful company. In that time, as they're training you, they're probably not making any sort of money utilizing you, especially if they're giving you a salary along with this. They're probably actually losing money by training you, but they know that by training you, eventually it's going to pay off. You are going to be very well prepared, so this will really help you in the long run, and it will help the company as well. So they make that investment to train you, and if they're making that investment, then that's a really good sign that they're a good company. Another thing to tell if a company is good is when they offer you a base salary. Typically, if a company is not offering you some sort of base or hourly salary, then most likely they are not investing in you. So definitely look out for that. If they're saying the job could be commission only, some commission only jobs are good, but a lot of them are a bad sign. So definitely something to look out for in the hiring process. But if they are offering you a yearly base or an hourly pay, then they are definitely a company to keep your eye on. And another thing you can also look out for is if the employees that they have are very qualified. If a company is bringing in just anyone, then most likely they are not going to be as successful as if they're very picky about their people. So if a company is picky about their people and who they bring in, then most likely it is a good company because they are being very careful about who they are hiring, who they are training, and stuff like that. So if they have very high needs during their recruitment process, then most likely it is a really good company. Another thing to look out for is if a company tells you either during your hiring process or while you're employed there, if there's a ton of room for growth. If a company has a lot of room for growth, that means they're planning on expanding. It means they're planning on like hiring more managers. They can't hire them fast enough. So if there's room for growth, it means a company is doing very well, and most likely you could be one of those people that grow one day. Another thing to look out for if your company is good, if a manager gives constructive feedback rather than just yelling at you. So a lot of companies where a manager will just yell at you rather than giving you general advice about how you can do better in your profession, especially if you pick up on this during the interview process before the job. But even if you're there and you realize they're yelling at you, most likely it is not a good company. If the manager is giving you constructive feedback on how to do better, most likely it can be a very good company. And then something else that can be really good is if there's an extensive hiring process. So if you're given the job right on the spot, most likely that can be dangerous. So if somebody really takes the time to get to know you and just really brings on like about 3 or 4 different processes before you actually get the job, this can be a really good sign for a company that the person is making sure that you're really the right fit for the job. So they're really being careful with who they let in and making sure they're the perfect fit for the company. So that's really a good way to see if somebody's offering you a job right on the spot, they're not being as careful. But if somebody's really taking the time to go through background checks and get to know you and make sure you're the perfect fit, that's a great company, and that company will probably be very successful. Another thing that makes for a great company is if they give a fair pay for the job that they want done. So if they're expecting you to do a lot out of the job, but your salary isn't as much as you expected, or it just seems really low for all the work you put in, most likely that is not going to be the best company to work for. Rather than if a company understands you're really going to be doing a lot of work and pays you accordingly, then and based on your qualifications for previous jobs, then it really shows that they value you and your work, which makes it a very good company to work for. Another observation you can make during the hiring process, or even when you're still employed, to see if you're working for a good company is analyzing if all the employees seem like they really like each other. Poorly run business, if not everyone no one really has to be best friends, but if you just get the vibe in there that everyone is there to support each other and likes each other and like really gets along, then you can tell that this is a well-run company, because that everyone seems happy to be there and work there. Another way to see if you're working for a good company is seeing if they are very transparent and they're very communicative of everything. So you can sometimes observe this in the interview process, and you can obviously observe this when you're working. And like if everyone's very transparent with each other and stuff gets done because of how well the communication is everything in a business. So if a workplace has good communication, then most likely it's a really good company to work for. Another thing that makes for a good company is when your values align with the company. It's really hard to work for somewhere that doesn't share your same values, because something that you believe in may not be something a company believes in, and that can end really badly. So if your values align super well with a company, then it'll show that that company is really meant for you and you can do well here because they are doing something that you really believe in. Another thing that also makes for a good company is having a good work-life balance. So this is everything. Having a work-life balance is important because you can't just work all the time. Everyone needs breaks or they're gonna be burnt out. So having that really good balance between work and home is very, very important to make sure that you get rest. And a company that burns out their employees is normally a company that will have a really bad turnover rate. So it's really important to have that work-life balance, and that makes for a good company because it means they care if their employees do get breaks. So that will conclude the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like this video. I really appreciate the support, and I will leave my socials down below. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.